That's right, Bikaholics alone in the studio today. All by myself. You heard her. You by yourself? You lonely? Staring out your window aimlessly? You can see it now, can't you? It's all right. There's a light at the end of that tunnel. That's right, because I'm here for you, Bikaholics. We can hang out together today. You're not alone. You can hang out with me. Okay. I honestly don't know how anybody could listen to this song more than 30 seconds and not want to eat a pistol. Frickin' nonsense. Complete nonsense. All right, let's do this episode, guys. This is ridiculous. That's right, Bikaholics. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Biker Planet. It's more than just the largest niche biker dating site. It's an entire social community of bikers. Make sure to check it out via our custom link so you can get all the perks. lawabidingbiker.com/bikerplanet. Hey, Bikaholics, do you have your grip on?
You know, the Biker Gripper.
Simply the best motorcycle cell phone, GPS, radar detector, and EFI tuner mount on the market.
Oh, it grips so tight.
That's right, 18 pounds grip strength to be exact.
So sleek and strong.
That's right, fits American or metric motorcycles and comes in black or chrome.
So what are you waiting for? Get your grip on.
You can get the Biker Gripper exclusively in the Law Abiding Biker store. Head over to www.lawabidingbiker.com/store and get your grip on. Thank you to all you Bikaholics out there for supporting the Law Abiding Biker store. It's awesome, guys. Let's do this, huh? Feel it. Oh, you better feel it. Here we go. That's right, guys. Got a badass show for you guys in the studio alone. Some nonsense up front there. Don't worry. Don't be lonely. I'm going to be with you. That's right, because you are listening to the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the 99%. That's right. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history, guys. I got to ask, what are you waiting for, Bikaholics? Mount up. Let me take you on another wild-ass ride. And because I'm alone today, that's right, I've got an extra seat. Jump on behind, wrap your arms around. It's going to be a great episode. I'll talk about that in a minute, about what the main content is here. Of course, by the title, you can probably figure it out. It's an interview. But I do want to announce real quick a new free video that we released some time ago. I just try to mention these as I can, guys. The best way to know about that is get subscribed to our YouTube channel over at lawabidingbiker.com/YouTube. And by subscribing there, it helps us, some social proof, guys. And also, you'll get a notification that there's a new free video out because, like I said, by the time we mention this on a podcast episode, it may be down the road and you may be missing out. We just have too many videos to, we do a whole episode just on mentioning new videos. But anyways, new free video that I'm announcing today that is out is the Vance and Hines Titan 450 oversized OS slip-on mufflers. And we put those on Lurch's 2015 Road Glide, but it's going to be the same for all touring models. You can grab that video, direct link over at lawabidingbiker.com/Titan 450, Titan 450. That's right, guys. And we kind of do an install and we do a review and we do a sound comparison to the best of our abilities with a video camera. I know Lurch is really enjoying those pipes over there. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. I just want to thank a real quick shout out to patron member Benjamin Corver of Salt Lake City, Utah. He hooked the interview we're doing up today, and I will get into a little more about that here in a minute. But he's a member of the Immortal Knights Public Safety Motorcycle Club, also a very active patron member, and he realized the benefits of doing an interview, and anyways, he hooked me up with the president of that club. Thus, here we are. I'm going to jump into an interview here in a little bit with the president and the sergeant-at-arms of that club. But again, more on that in a minute. Since we're talking to patrons, I just want to thank some patrons straight up front here for making this episode possible, guys. Scott Brummer of East Bernard, Texas. Top tier, guys. That's right. So awesome. That's right. Shout out Bernard, Texas. Of course, he gets benefits over there at our Patreon project, guys, for being so involved. Martin Roberts of Tonebridge, Kent, Great Britain. Wow, shout out to Great Britain. That is so awesome. Worldwide listeners and patrons, guys, across the world becoming patrons. That just is awesome. Louis Dolente of Haverton, Pennsylvania, also top tier. I cannot believe it. Thank you, guys. They got hooked up over at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. They took action. They want to make sure this platform keeps going. They want to grow the Law Abiding Biker community. They want to be involved. They like what we're doing. And there's no better way to do that by becoming a patron, blah, blah, blah. Tongue twister there. So we really appreciate that, guys. We encourage you to get hooked up. I just did a new video, an intro and outro video for our Patreon page. So if you get a chance, check it out. The other one over there was quite old, and I'm trying to update stuff as we go along here. And of course, I explain everything, talking head video over there of what Patreon's about, what it has to offer, how you can help, the fact that there's no risk. I break it down for you guys over there. And we'd really appreciate if you got over there. That community is growing, that private Facebook group that you can get in. Again, Benjamin Corver of Salt Lake City hooked this interview up, and he is a member over there. He's inside that private Facebook group. The conversations are absolutely blowing up over there. It's off the hook, guys, and I can't even keep up. And, when we started that thing, I wasn't sure what exactly it was going to transpire to, but it is so beyond my wildest imagination that I'm just glad everybody else is in there helping each other and networking and communicating, because there's no way, even with me, Lurch and Rick and the other guys monitoring that thing, it's off the frickin' hook. So good on you, all the patrons in there that are just taking that thing to the next level. So anyways, I have an awesome interview for you. I'll just give you a quick overview, and then we're going to dive. I'm going to get on Skype here with these guys and see where it goes from there. This is a club interview, and I just want to remind you guys that over time we've done club interviews, and you get, by the benefits, we all should be communicating with each other out there. The law-abiding biker community should be open, it should be transparent, and it is for the most part. And there's no reason that you or your club shouldn't jump on board because of the benefits you get by simply getting on Skype and having a bullshit conversation with me. It's so super simple. Anybody that's done it will tell you that. It's way laid back, way easy, and the benefit you get is a page of your own on our website. You get on our exclusive lawabidingbiker.com/clubs page. You get on our slider, your club logo. Anytime in the future, we give you a URL, like in this case, lawabidingbiker.com/Immortal Knights, and that's a direct URL. People interested in your club, public interested in your club, anybody you want to just give that URL to, they can go over, they can listen. You'll have your own episode number. I mean, we do it all for you guys. All you have to do is grab an hour of time and get on Skype and bullshit with another biker, which is me, obviously. So anyways, today I'm going to dive in here in a minute and have an interview with Randy, aka Jake Patton, from Salt Lake City, Utah. And next to him is going to be Steve Pirate Bills. Also, he's the Sergeant at Arms of the Immortal Knights. Randy is the president, if I didn't mention that, and one of the founders of that club, exclusive to at this point, to the Salt Lake City, Utah area. And we really break down, we're going to get in a conversation. We're going to break it down about what their club is about and where they came from and all that. And that we always, in these interviews, every time I do it, I know I learn stuff, and it's amazing. Just because you always get, on side tangents, so to speak, which is no problem. I don't mind getting off, but every time I take a tidbit, and I know that you guys, the law-abiding biker audience, also, I've gotten so many emails over time. You guys also take a, something you learn, whether you're thinking about joining a club or whether you're thinking about starting your own club. Again, this is the platform, guys. It's here for you. Utilize it. So with that said, again, let's get right into our interview, and let me get on Skype with these guys from the Immortal Knights Public Safety Motorcycle Club. Let's do this thing, guys. So, Immortal Knights,
Yep.
Public Safety Motorcycle Club.
Yep.
Right? Okay. let's want you. And so I guess one of the first things I'm just curious about with Immortal Knights is, are you guys like, now you're from Salt Lake City, right?
Right.
You said that. Okay. And is that the only place that the Immortal Knight Club is?
Right now.
Okay.
We've only been around for, this is our 5th year right now.
Okay. So 5th year. So that puts us back, what, about 2011 or something?
Yep.
Okay. Now, how did you you ever, any other, Jake, any other experience with motor? Obviously you're probably riding a lot long before you started a club and stuff. How long have you been riding for?
I've been riding since I was a kid. Really, in all honesty, I spent the first 2 years of my life sitting between mom and dad.
Okay.
So, but no, I was in another club. In fact, 6 of the other founders and I were all in another club when we split away from them because they went a direction we didn't think was right and started our own.
Okay. And so you were with another club?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't have to name that club, obviously. That's up to you. Yeah. So was it another, obviously a law-abiding biker club?
Yes.
Okay. How long were you with them?
We were with them for 4 years. I was actually their national sergeant at arms when I left.
Okay. And you say at some point you didn't like the direction or something, and
yeah, I didn't like the direction they were going, and they weren't going, illegal or anything like that. They were just making a bunch of idiotic demands in their bylaws, wanting to change things.
Okay, if you can? These are always interesting conversations, because a lot of people, they really, that's what it's all about. This platform is clubs, helping bikers, that kind of stuff. So I want to dive into that just a little bit.
Sure.
What are some of the things, because I kind of come from the same background where I was with the club and didn't have a lot of ability to change things for the better, in my opinion. And so we, started our own club. Can you give me any specifics about what it was that you necessarily didn't like? Was it lack of power of members, or was it because there wasn't probationary periods and they were getting undesirable members? I mean, just generally speaking, is there anything that rings your bell there?
A lot of the things that they were doing is they wanted to support some organizations that I'd done some homework on, and the money wasn't going to really the charity. It was paying for the administrative costs. And then they were getting a little ticky-tacky about members' vests, saying they can only have 3 pins on it, and it's like, this isn't the military, this is a club. You guys were supposed to be family-oriented and have fun, and you guys are taking that away.
Right. And, and that's the great thing about as many clubs as there are out here, that everybody can find maybe something that fits them better, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I mean? So 2011, and then you decide at that point, okay, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to branch off. How did that start? Take me back in time, how this all came together.
Well, at the time I was living about 100 miles south of Salt Lake, and I'd been, the founders that I have now, we were all very close-knit and tight, and I called them up, told them, hey, I'm leaving, and they says, well, come up and talk to us about it. I said, all right. So on the ride up, I was thinking about starting this club, and when I told them why I was leaving and some of the things that were going on in the national meetings, they all just cut their patches off right then and says, yeah, let's start our own. And it grew from there quickly.
And so when you sat down, I mean, what were some of the things, because it's a big deal to start a club from the ground up. That's not an easy, yeah, I see your reaction there, because I've done it, and that has to be taken really seriously because it's a lot of work. So was that ever, did you think ever, I guess, about going with another club or just buckling down and trying to get the support to start the new one?
I was actually approached by some members of the Blue Knights to join them. And I thought about it. tired of just listening to somebody else tell me what to do, how to act, how to ride, where to ride, who to ride for. I figured, let's just buckle down and get our own thing rolling.
Yeah, good.
All the founders are really on that same page. Not all of my founders have a law enforcement background. That's why we went with a public safety club. That way we could encompass more people that wanted to ride and be law-abiding. So it really worked out well for us, I think.
So how many founding members did you have, or that patched off?
Yeah, there's 8 total founding members. 2 of them have since left for other reasons, personal reasons, but we're still in contact with them. They still ride with us.
Okay, so what's that process look like? The 8 of you, take me through that about, some of the things that you knew you had to do and things you had to do to get the new club up and going.
Well, first thing we did is we designed our patch, and in fact, I still have some of the original drawings on butcher paper where one of the daughters of the founders actually drew it out for us. And then, of course, we had to sit down and work on bylaws. And our bylaws are a little different. We have some articles in front of the bylaws themselves that, that's basically the history of the club, and one steadfast rule in there, no fighting, in club colors, don't, treat your colors with respect, treat your other brothers and sisters with respect, something like that. We're not going to tolerate. So in a disciplinary setting, you break one of those, then we're just going to boot you out. No questions asked.
So on the bylaws, where did you come up with those? Is that, because I know that was when we started our club, it was the biggest undertaking because we wrote them from scratch. We didn't, we could have borrowed and stuff, but we didn't. We just, oh my God. And it took us about 2 years to finally iron everything out. How did that go for you?
I wish it only took me 2 years. I just made an update this year on them.
Okay.
I look at it this way. Bylaws, you have your core set, like officers' duties, what it takes to join the club, things like that. But as problems arise, membership needs to understand that bylaws should be a fluid thing that, because maybe we didn't think of something in the beginning that we might have to change. So, and that's what we do with those. So far, it's working really well.
Good. And so it's fair to say you wrote those from scratch? Oh,
absolutely.
Good. And so everybody that's listening out there, obviously tons of people are going to be listening to this. What advice do you have, if you have any little tidbits of advice for writing bylaws? Is there anything you can say, this is how I would go about that? It will save you time. Maybe, maybe not.
I think to save time, what I would do, there's a lot of bylaws out there on the internet. Most law-abiding clubs publish their bylaws. I would go through them, read them. You don't have to borrow single thing from them, but take what you like. What fits you, what fits your club. And then put it in there that way. Rewrite it how it fits you. There was one portion that I did like, was from a different club that I saw, is that you'll stop and help a motorcyclist in need. That's something I've added into ours.
Right. Very cool. I like that. Now, Pirate sitting next to you there. We got to get Pirate involved here. He's just over there. Now, is Pirate one of the founding members?
No, he's not.
Okay. And he's your sergeant at arms?
Yes.
Okay. Was he involved with any of this? Were you involved with any of this bylaw stuff?
Well, I helped narrate, and when I was prospecting, I actually memorized all the articles and bylaws. So, luckily, Jake comes to me and asks, "Hey, read through this. What do you think? Does it flow well? Does this make sense?" So, I've helped a little bit with it. So,
very cool. Pirate, you've been riding a long time. Were you with the club before them?
No, I was not.
Okay, so this is first club.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Obviously, riding before that.
Yes, I rode for a few years. I was in the military. got out and I looked at other clubs and nothing really seemed to fit, and I didn't really like where they were going, and ran into the Immortal Knights and loved what they were all about and looked more into it and ended up prospecting for them. So.
Very cool. What kind of bike you riding, Pirate?
I have an 09 Street Bob.
Sweet. And how about you, Jake?
I have a 01 Electric Glide.
Okay. Awesome. So let's, and I was like, I gotta know what guys are riding. So let's talk about, what is the Immortal Knights motorcycle club entail? As far as we're going to break it down. We'll get more specific, but I guess off the top, who is the Immortal Knights for?
We ride for obviously law enforcement, firefighters, any public safety organization. We do. I don't know if you've heard about the last few officer shootings here in Utah. We ride. We approach the families and ride for them, and do a memorial ride for their fallen. No matter who it is, we actually have some memorial patches that we've put together for them, and we wear them proudly. Hopefully we don't have too many firefighters we have to do that for, but we have those also designed and ready to go. One of our biggest charities we do ride for is the Code 4 Foundation. And what that is Nanette Ride. Her husband, Corey Ride, was shot and killed a few years back. And we hooked up with her, and what her foundation does is put bulletproof glass in police cars and fire trucks and things like that. So we do a lot of work with them. And then their spin-off organization is the Blue Haven Foundation. And what they do is help support the widows of fallen officers.
Code 4, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hadn't heard of that. And so that's very interesting. So Code 4 organization raises money to put bulletproof glass in. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Wow. Very cool. See all the stuff I learned just talking. That's why I love these Skype things, because we just BS and I can learn a ton of stuff like that. So
yeah, it's called the Utah Code 4 Foundation.
Okay, I'm writing it down. Very cool. All right, awesome. Now, on that line, getting deeper into Immortal Knights, both of you obviously have a career. If you're comfortable, you don't have to say where, but are you firefighters, law enforcement, corrections? What is it?
We're both corrections.
Okay. And the Immortal Knights, I mean, I've done my research, but let everybody know who's allowed to become a member of Immortal Knights.
Obviously, law enforcement, correctional officers, firefighters, EMTs, doctors, nurses, dispatchers. We actually just added the dispatcher to our full member list this year. And then anybody can be an associate member with us. They obviously wear a different patch than our full members do. But we even have a youth membership program where the children of our members can join up and ride with us as well.
Hey guys, just want to take a quick moment to thank some donations. Of course, we love our patrons, but we never balk at a flat donation. If that's the only way you can support us, of course, we appreciate it. Linda Burnett of Warner Robins, Georgia, thanks. Substantial donation. God bless. Colin Cadell of Hollister, California, also a substantial donation. Man, these guys are awesome. Yannick, I always screw up his name, and he's very involved in our Facebook group. Lamatagne, and I'm sorry, Yannick, I love you, brother, but if I screwed that up. Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, and I know I mutilated that too, but he's so involved. He donated, guys, and he's also a frickin' patron. And then he's also donating. Unbelievable. H.K. Dawkins and son of Morgantown, West Virginia. Mark McDermott of Arlington, Washington. McDermott, hey, very, very involved. Also a patron and also donating, man. These guys are just amazing. Rusty Roberts of Gallatin, Tennessee, also a patron, and ongoing donations on the side. It's just unbelievable. I can't wrap my head around this, guys. The patrons on top of donations. It's just, you guys are awesome. All right, enough said. God bless, and let's get back into our interview, huh? Very cool. So anybody basically can apply for it. I mean,
anybody can apply as long as they're not a felon.
Okay, very cool. And the civilians will be an associate member if they do get accepted.
Yes.
Okay. Was there any talk about that when you started your club, Jake? About who are we going to allow? Are we just going to be corrections? Are we just going to be fire? Was there any conversation like that?
There was actually. We wanted to limit it a little bit, but yet keep it open enough to where we knew they were going to be law-abiding citizens that joined us. So we actually started off with firefighters, law enforcement, correctional officers, EMTs, things like that. And then we opened it up to doctors and nurses and dispatchers. We figured they're all part of, the first responder groups, in their ways. So why not bring them in?
Absolutely. 2011, how long did it take you to get up in what you would consider running as an official club?
We started in December 2011, and we actually, all of our founders even prospected in just so we could keep it above board and say, look, we did it, everybody's doing it. And we actually started in March of 2012. We were up and running.
Awesome. What was probably, if you can think of the hardest thing, because starting from the ground up, that was probably the most labor intensive for you?
Getting our patches, finding an individual that could put out a quality patch for us at a reasonable price.
Right.
My original set of patches cost me $160. Now we've got that down to about $70, 75. And so it helps out a lot. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, they can get rather spendy. What was that? Obviously, the design process. How? Let's talk real quick since we're diving into patches. Let's talk about your patches. How'd you come up with that patch?
Well, the background of the shield itself, even the shield, that represents our law enforcement, anybody that wears a badge. That's what the shield's for. Okay,
I'm looking at it here, and just because it's a audio podcast, I'm going to jump in here just a little bit. And so we're looking at the center patch is a big shield. It's purple. It looks like it's got a phoenix on it. Looks like it has some mountains with snow-capped mountains in the back, and then kind of a green field underneath that. That's the center patch. So let's break that down, and then we'll do the rockers.
Okay. Well, the mountain range is actually Mount Timpanogos. That's where all the founders, met and became friends. And the Phoenix, obvious is just rebirth of the old going into the new. And with Phoenix being immortal, that helped come up with the word immortal for the Knights. And we wanted to keep the memories of all our fallen officers and brothers alive forever. And then we chose Knights because we feel that, first responders are a reincarnation of the old medieval knights. There to protect the weak and the innocent. And
that mountain range obviously is somewhere near you?
Yeah, that's about 10 miles south of us.
Okay, awesome.
Mount Timpanogos.
Now, another thing, I do my research obviously a bit before I get on Skype with you here. One thing I found interesting is that I, for Immortal, is the 9th letter in the alphabet. And then I noticed, I read this on your site, and then K for Knights is the 11th, which stands for 911. A lot of thought went into that, or is that just lucky?
No, that was by design.
Okay.
I knew I wanted Knights as part of our name, and we sat around for probably 2 hours coming up with the top rocker name so that it would match the 911.
Wow. That's cool. That's kind of stuff that a lot of people don't think that deep into it. So I thought that was pretty cool reading that on your site. Now you've got a top rocker, of course. It's kind of it's the top rocker, but then it's kind of got the flag ends on it, top and bottom.
Yep.
Okay. And then I see another right below the top rocker, the Immortal, of course. Now the bottom rocker is Knights. Before I jump to that patch, is there a reason you went with Immortal Knights instead of across the top? Because a lot of people, would do Immortal Knights across the top and then they'd put Utah along the bottom.
Yeah, we don't claim any territory other than the ground we're sitting on top of. And so, I didn't want to get involved with any of the politics of the 1% clubs or anything like that. So I wanted to keep my members safe, and that's the biggest reason I did it that way.
And so that was obviously a topic of conversation when you were beginning with the Founding 8, right?
Yes, very much so.
Was there anybody that, obviously you don't have to give names or anything, but was there anybody that had a differing opinion about that? Because that's a conversation of interest when you're starting a club.
No, everybody was pretty much in agreement off the get-go. I mean, we had one guy that he's not law enforcement at all, and he's one of our bigger guys, actually. And he's, we'll put Utah on it. No. And everybody, we finally calmed him down and said, no, this is the smarter way to do it. I mean, we still catch some flack from some 1% groups, but not near as much.
Okay, good. Let's dive into that then. So you're starting a new club, and we've obviously had a lot of conversations on this very podcast in regards to that. And everybody handles that a little bit different, and people have different views on it. But obviously you're starting a new club, whether you recognize that particular walk of life or not, it still is there, whether you want it, and so I get it, we don't have to recognize it, but then there's been other, interviews I've done, and I get it, for their particular situation, they had to, tiptoe around it a little bit, where in our case, it's a little different. We're a full LA club. We don't care what they think, and there's just a different way we have to approach that. We can't, be in contact at all with that because it's against our policies. But then I get other clubs, that aren't all law enforcement, maybe have to at least advise that they're starting a club in the area. So I get it. So don't think I'm closed-minded to that. I say you have to do what works and what's best for your area. What was that for you?
When I was with the other club before joining this one, the COC actually approached us and they wanted us to go have a sit down with them. Me being the cocky sergeant at arms that I was, I said, sure, I'll go. And so we set up the date. I was going to go sit down with them, bring a couple of guys with me. And about a week before the meeting, they called me up and says, oh, you let cops in your club? Yep. Oh, never mind. And so I don't even give them a second thought now.
Good. I like that. I like that. Well, that's cool that they backed off once they found that,
Yep.
Yeah, obviously not an organization we recognize at all, but I know that they're there and some people have to deal with that. So I'm always very interested in those stories. So what else went into, did you just start it then and didn't worry about anything?
I did actually contact the Blue Knights. I'm Protocol's proud protocol, and they are the largest organization around. So I contacted them. I didn't really ask for permission because I had already had my patches and my website was up and running. And I said, this is what I'm doing. Just want to let you guys know. And they've been very supportive of us. I'm very good friends with one of the vice presidents of Blue Knights here. And we're actually going to do some joint ventures together club-wise.
Very cool. Yeah. And I'll say one thing about the Blue Knights. That's where I came from. I started a chapter here, and I still have lots of friends in the Blue Knights, and we left because it didn't work for me. it didn't work for us. We wanted to do, it's just such a big organization. And so I've talked openly about it on this podcast before. I have nothing bad to say about that organization. It's just so big that we wanted to do tighten things up a little bit. You can't do that within there because it's just, they got the boards and they're international, and we just were, finally got to a point, but we still do a lot of things with them. And so that's no negative, and they're very, very active. They're pretty benign, when it comes to worrying about, other clubs and things like that. So very, very cool that you're hooked up with them. And that's what I always say. We do a lot of stuff with a lot of different people and clubs. We have our club, but we're never closed to collaborating and stuff like that. That's what makes us the law-abiding biker community, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we all have our cool clubs and patches in our own certain ways, but when it comes down to brotherhood and helping the communities and riding together and never being standoffish, that's what separates us from the criminal element.
I agree, 100%.
Yep. Awesome history there. So I see. Before we move on from patches, I was looking and I'm seeing, and maybe this is what you're talking about associate members versus your full members. As I see two different versions of the patch. One's a 1-piece and one's a 3-piece. Can you explain that?
Yeah, our 1-piece again was designed for safety. That's for our females and our associate members, because I didn't want them getting hassled. One of the girls are out riding around and she's only wearing a 1-piece. Nobody's going to give her a hard time. And the odds are they won't be riding by themselves anyway. But if they were, I just didn't want them to get in any trouble with some other club, for wearing a 3-piece patch. It's more of a tradition thing than anything else, but I just didn't want to risk any of my members getting hurt.
Sure. So is it fair to say that the female members cannot wear the 3-piece patch?
That's very safe to say that.
Okay. And what this is always a topic of conversation. It's not a chauvinistic thing at all. And people, we've talked about it in the past. Everybody's got their different vision for a club, and there's some clubs that don't allow females, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's some clubs that do allow females, and maybe I know female clubs right here that don't allow males. And that's just, it is what it is. So it doesn't need to be a hot topic. Did that conversation come up when you were starting the club?
It did actually. I have had 3 female founders, and they wanted to wear the 3-piece patch, and I explained to them, it's nothing against you. It's a safety issue. I mean, their patch still say Immortal on the top and Knights on the bottom. Where an associate member or any other that's non-full member will have IKPSMC on the top and whatever position they are, be it associate or youth member or whatever, and that'll be on the bottom. Okay,
good stuff. Because it was a topic of conversation. This is what people want to know, because I know they're and a lot of people steer away from these conversations, but it's just normal life,
Part of the game.
It is part of the game, exactly. And so you were at that point, you were like, okay, we'll have female members, but this is going to be the restriction,
right? And it's not, like I said, it's, in my mind, it wasn't a restriction. It's just safety,
right?
I got to keep their health in mind at all times. I feel so.
Yep. And you are the, I don't know if I mentioned it, Jake, but you are the president and founder.
Yes, I am.
Right. Very cool. Still president.
Just got reelected.
All right. They haven't did a vote of no confidence on your ass or nothing, huh?
No, nothing like that. I was really surprised.
It's coming, right? Just same with me, bro. I know they're behind my back. They're
yeah, right.
Devising a plan to oust me.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, what would you say your club's main goal is? Brotherhood, helping the community. Anything that's non-specific?
It's have both of those: brotherhood, helping the community. We do our main ride that we do every year is the First Responders Tribute Ride. We pick a different first responder type organization every year to ride for and raise money for them, where 100% of everything we raise goes right to them. And that's our biggest thing, I think.
And is that the first? So that's your big ride is the first responders thing you do. How do you make money off that?
We don't.
No, I guess how do you make money for donation?
That?
Yeah, sorry, I misworded that.
We go out and pound the pavement, knock on doors, and say, hey, we're raising money for, like this year we're doing a volunteer fire department down in southern Utah that we're riding for. And I've been in contact with some of the firefighters and fire captains up here in Salt Lake, and they're going to donate equipment to them. And we've already raised, almost $1,000 worth of goods to either auction or raffle off at the ride, and some cash donation as well to go towards that.
Awesome.
We usually start our rides in June, usually the second or third weekend in June, and then we usually start pounding the pavement November the previous year.
Is there an entry fee to ride, or is it?
Yeah, we do charge. It's $25 for a rider, $35 for a rider and passenger, and then $10 if somebody wants to be in a cage and follow along.
Go ahead, Jake.
We sell raffle tickets there, and then we have our bigger ticket items we actually auction off.
All right. Cool, man. Do you get a big turnout? Pretty good turnout for that?
It's getting bigger every year. The first year we did it, we had 24 bikes. Last year we had 87, I think it was. And we actually got UHP to come along and escort our rides and everything. So it's getting bigger.
Yeah, that's great, man. Love hearing that's such a, man, I've ridden through some of those areas, but that's just a beautiful areas to ride. I'll tell you what, I have fond memories of riding through there. So if we're ever through again, now I got another connect, see? So I keep track of all this stuff. We've pretty much got connects in every state now after doing this thing.
Heck yeah. Definitely swing by.
Yeah, we will have a beer. So let's talk about now, this is another topic that comes up when starting a club. What kind of bikes are allowed? You've got the clubs like ours that are, American made V-twin. There's nothing wrong with that. And we have our uniformity reasons for that, because we do a lot of stuff where we need to be in uniform and we want everybody to kind of look the same. That's just one of our reasons. But now there's other clubs that allow all kinds of bikes. Fill me in on this.
We will allow any bike as long as it can maintain highway speeds for, 2 hours at a time. Because if we decide we're going to take off and ride to St. George, I don't want somebody on a scooter trying to keep up with us.
So what you're saying is Pirate there can't keep up on his Vespa?
He has a tough time, but I've watched him push it uphill a couple of times and it worked out pretty good for him.
I got strong legs.
Yeah, you would get strong legs on that too. Oh, I can just see Pirate there riding his Vespa with his half helmet.
He does. Actually, he uses a full face.
Okay, even better.
Only when it's cold.
Right. Oh, good stuff. All right. So sports bikes is definitely a possibility too.
It's a possibility, but we're going to have to really see how they ride, because most of the guys that ride sport bikes are kind of goofy.
So but is that something you guys could decide, based on yes or no, if he rides good or something?
Yeah. I mean, if he rides well, I have no problem bringing a sport bike in, but if they're hot dogs, like a lot of those guys are, I don't want anything to do with them.
I hear you. Now let's get into, officer positions within your club. And like we mentioned earlier, the only place you are right now is in the Salt Lake City area. So you have one club, one chapter, pretty manageable. What are the basic positions inside your organization?
According to our bylaws, the basic positions are president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant at arms. The president, vice president, secretary, and sergeant at arms and treasurer are all elected. The sergeant at arms is appointed by the president.
How long are those positions running for?
They run 4 years. We kind of did something. I think it's a little different. I've never seen any other club do it. Instead of electing all the positions every 4 years, I actually staggered them. So, and if a new chapter ever starts up, they would do it this way: is they would decide who's going to fill those positions, and then that following year, the treasurer would be either reelected or a new one would be done. The next year, the secretary. The next year, the vice president, and then the fourth year, the president would be either reelected or replaced. So,
yeah, smart.
I think it makes it easier because then you have people that come in and know what's going on, and so it just more continuity in the leadership of the chapter, I believe.
No, I agree, and that way the whole changing of the guard isn't all at once.
Right.
Yeah, no, we kind of have a similar setup because, you wouldn't want to flush everybody at once and try to have them take over. That could be a nightmare for the club. So those are the smart things, though, and as well as I do, thinking these things out and thinking longevity into the future. You have to think if, for everybody out there that's thinking about starting a club, these are the things that keep a club going into the future, is really putting time into those types of scenarios. Because if you don't think about it, you just throw something together, your club could be gone in a couple of years,
Exactly.
We've seen it. We've seen clubs come and go. Just wanted to interrupt real quick the episode. We'll get right back into it. Just want to thank these 3 patrons, guys. Dan Walters of Felton, California, top tier, became a patron, guys. He's supporting us per piece of content, pledging a certain amount, getting benefits. He's in the private Facebook group. Terrence Lewis, not sure where he's from. And then Shelton Dawkins, also not sure where Shelton is from. But thank you, guys. If you want to get hooked up, please get involved in the patron community, guys. No better way to support us, lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon. All right, let's get back into your interview.
In fact, our old club, we were all in the mother chapter here, and that chapter is non-existent anymore. They folded. They're still a club, but their mother chapter is gone. Their original. And I don't think any of their founding members are even there anymore.
See, and that's just pure, and not knowing anything about them, that's just pure bad planning and bad structure, for an organization to fold like that, clearly. So do you have road captains or anything like that?
Yeah, one of our president's abilities is he can appoint any type of officer position to help him run his chapter. So I do have a road captain that helps out a lot. I've had event coordinators that help plan our first responders tribute ride or any other rides that we wanted to do. And then I have actual committees that we put together, membership committee, disciplinary committee, executive committee, all those that help out. So,
okay, now let's get into since we're in officer positions and things like that within the club. It's another thing. It's something that people you have to have something in place. And every club's going to do that different. What is your voting process as far as maybe officer positions and also issues? Some clubs like ours is 100% for everything. And the only thing I vote on as a president is if there's a tie. It takes the power. I'm not going to get into ours really, but those structural things, we didn't want one person to have too much power, and nor the president. So is it a 2/3? Is it a 50%? I mean, can you enlighten us on your procedures?
We actually do a majority, a simple majority vote here. If we're voting on a member, this is something we just came up with and updated the bylaws with. Is our prospects will go through what we call phases. So their first phase, they get their bottom rocker, and then before they do that, we take it to the chapter and say, all right, do you guys endorse this guy becoming a prospect? and they'll vote on it. And once they do, then we'll issue that. And then at their second phase, we'll bring it back to the chapter membership again. Okay, do you want this guy to keep proceeding? If he does, then the membership committee actually gives him a test. And part of our prospecting thing is to know what our bylaws say. So we break it down into two parts there, and so that they understand what our bylaws are, and we know that they know it. So, and that's just one way we get the votes from our membership. And any negative votes on that need to be explained, on something like that. But on a riot or anything, we really haven't had too much divisiveness. Most everybody says, yeah, let's do that. So it's turned out to be 100% vote where we really don't require it.
Okay. As far as, but generally speaking, if a prospect member gets a majority of the votes, they're going to become a member. Is that fair?
Depending on what the explanations are, because if somebody comes to me and says, I don't trust this guy, if they don't have anything concrete and that person hasn't done anything wrong, we're going to probably let them in. But if they've got something concrete that, I saw this guy over here hanging out with these guys, and okay, well, maybe we'll take a better look at that and extend his prospect time and see what's going on.
So what I'm hearing is, and maybe I'm hearing it wrong, so you can correct me. It's a majority vote for a new member, but it sounds like you have the authority to override that if there's issues.
I do have the authority to do it because, and as far as our bylaws go, the only one that actually has the power to grant membership is the president. But I don't hold that over anybody's head by any means. So it's there just in case, I guess, is the best way to put that. But no. I do let everybody speak their mind and say, do you want him? Then we'll bring him in.
No, it's smart, and everybody's got different ways they do that. But it is so important, a new membership. And as well as I do, we've seen clubs fold because they're bringing undesirable people in. And so I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just, we've talked about it on this show before, is you have to be so careful bringing in new members for club longevity. And so you've basically, the way I see it is you got safeguards in place for that. And that's your version of your safeguard.
Yep, that is. And we do run background checks on anybody that comes in. If they can't pass one of our background checks, we're not going to even entertain the fact.
Very cool.
A lot of us are law enforcement, and we just can't hang around, felons and things. And I personally, I hang around them every day at work. I don't want to hang around them.
Yeah, I totally hear you there, brother. Totally. So your prospects, since we're in prospect here, explain that, what a prospect is for you, a probationary member. How long is that period, and what does that entail somebody has to do if they're interested in becoming a prospect for your club?
Well, basically, there's no set time limit, but the minimum amount of time somebody could actually do it would be 6 months. And the reason is they have to attend, 6 club meetings before they can become fully patched. So there's no way that they can do it before that. What they have to do is come ride with us, get to know us. Most everybody in the club has known somebody, so they bring them in, which is kind of nice. And that's something else that we have written down. They should be personally, be known personally by somebody in the club. If not, we have safeguards, or not safeguards, but we do have a process for that where they would actually, the sergeant at arms would be their sponsor. That way he can vet them out and make sure they're all on the up and up. But they'll come to our meeting, and they have to actually say in a meeting, yes, I want to join you guys. We're not going to chase them around and, here, take this patch. And we're not like that. at all. And I feel the way we do our prospects, we don't haze them. We'll pick on them and tease them, but we don't do anything crazy like make them wash bikes and things like that. But they do have to learn our bylaws, and that's part of that phase thing. They have to learn our articles through the first phase. Once they've passed that test, then we'll issue their top rocker, and then on their next test, they have to pass off the articles and the bylaws both, because we can ask anything from that document at that time. And if they can't answer it or whatever, then we'll just go ahead and extend their time and say, until you learn it, this is where you're at. I figure it's our club. We can set those rules on how we want them to progress. And if we don't chase people around to have them join us. If they want to join us, they will.
I like that motto. We're the same way as, we don't recruit, and people will come to us if they're interested. That's the first test, that they're interested in what you have to offer. Speaking of that subject, trying to add members too fast, and we see it and it causes a lot of problems. Are you guys, since we opened up that little can there, are you guys worried or have any safeguards in place where we're only going to grow this quick, or is it just whoever applies, we're going to let them do the probationary process? Are you putting caps on things, anything like that?
At first we were, because I had a lot of national connections because of my old position, and we decided we were not going to even add another chapter for the first year that we were in existence. And we weren't, we're at the point now that's like, if we add people, we add people. If we don't, we're happy with what we got.
Yep. Good. That's a good position to be in.
I actually wrote our bylaws, for us locally, but I was thinking nationally when I wrote them, so that if somebody in Arizona wanted to start a chapter down there, that they could grow from that and keep going.
Okay, so you are willing to obviously expand, and if it works out.
If it works out, great. If it doesn't, I'm okay too.
I hear you. Okay, so, and I just want to make sure I touched on prospect. You said it's a minimum of 6 months.
Yeah, that's the minimum time they could get through it.
Okay, yeah, very right on par with what we do too. So, all right, and so is it, how many, if you don't mind, some people are comfortable, some aren't, you don't have to. How many members are you possibly looking at here at this point in your club?
We have about 20 right now.
It's a nice, manageable group.
It is. It really is.
I like that. And you've been with another club, and it sounds like a bigger club, and you can give me your insight into this. Feel free. But those larger clubs, and I felt, and again, I'm only bringing up Blue Knights because I have friends right now when we ride with them and stuff, and they get it. I left for a lot of reasons, and one of them was just, I wanted to feel that really close, tight bond. And with 20 brothers, you can really be personal and close. When you're talking about a club the size of the Blue Knights, it's not their fault. There's a lot of people on paper, and I just didn't really feel, that even being president when we started a chapter here, and it's still going. We passed it off. Great guys, but I just didn't get that, connection. So I think that's something to be concerned about when you're making a club, about how tight you want it, because the bigger you get, the harder it is to have that. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with you 100% on that. It's there were people in the old club I'd talk to on email. I mean, I'd help start chapters, in that old club, and we'd talk on the phone. But as far as being tight and knowing the person, no, it's almost impossible. I think it's kind of cool if, in one sense, if you're riding across country and you go through an area where you have a chapter, that there's somebody there. But as far as being tight with them, I think you lose that. There's too much disconnect.
Yeah, no, that's awesome insight. And a quick plug, only because you brought it up, which is good. You're right. One of the benefits of having a large club and network is be able to ride across country, or even if you're international and always have brothers. I'll tell you that that's changing, obviously, with the internet. just us alone, our private Facebook group, our patron only members get in there, and they're from all different, some are with clubs, some aren't, and they're networking in there. And that networking, we've got guys meeting guys in other countries. In Canada, I saw it the other day, where they're talking to each other. And so with a platform like that and what we have, that's a benefit of a large club, but it's not necessary to have that to get that benefit. You can do it other ways now and always have people and friends, different bikers from different areas. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely back a long time ago, it was definitely a bigger benefit, to have somebody to pick up the phone. But God, with the internet now, it's so great. Look at us meeting bikers, talking to bikers on Skype. What better can I spend my time just bullshitting with bikers from Salt Lake City,
Right.
Such a great thing. It really is. It is. I've met so many awesome people doing this. So with that, let's talk about minimum membership attendance and stuff like that. Obviously, because we're spinning right off that close, tight brotherhood and a group of about 20 guys, it's easier to manage because there are a lot of clubs where a lot of people are just on paper and there aren't minimum. And so I don't know, me personally, I weigh that and I'm like, that's not really the brotherhood that I wanted, just somebody on a piece of paper. So we have, there's a lot of ways to do that, to have these minimum member, attendance. We can do it because we have weird jobs, different hours. You can do it electronically. We can Skype you in if you absolutely can't make it, but at least and not all the time. You can only do that once in a while. How's that look for you guys?
We do it quite the same way. I've got some brothers that are truck drivers, and if they're within cell phone range, they call in during the meeting and we put them on speakerphone. They're there. May not be physically there, but they're getting the information that we're putting out, and they're making the attempt to be there. We do have 3 mandatory events every year, though. We have the First Responders Tribute Ride that is mandatory. Then we also do the Fallen Officers Ride here in Utah. That's a mandatory event for us. And then the December 2nd meeting, which is our anniversary meeting, and that's mandatory for all members.
Okay.
I didn't want to make it a mandatory of everything, but I wanted to give them some choice, but I do encourage everybody to show up to every meeting, and so far we've had pretty good luck with that.
What is the best way, because you guys obviously very manageable group, what do you find tips, tricks, hints, best way every club does it different, to communicate with each other, such as rides and things like that? Do you guys have systems in place?
We have, other than our meetings, we have our own private Facebook page, and everybody gets on there and chats, and we can do that from work or at home, wherever we're at. So that keeps our lines of communication open quite a bit. And then everybody in the club has everybody else's phone numbers and text messages and all that sort of thing too. So we get the word out, and then off of our website, we all have our own individual email accounts through that. So we get the information out pretty easily for everybody that way.
Good. Do you guys plan any big rides per year? I know not everybody can always make it, but we that's just what we do. We always do a summer trip, one of our longer rides. Sturgis it was last year. Do you guys able to put any? Yeah, you were there too. Yeah, we were there. Darn, I wish I'd have known you before that. We hooked up with a lot of patrons down there. We actually had a private patron meetup. Some of our members that are in the patron thing came, and we did a big, huge barbecue for them, and we had beer at our private residence we were at. So, that was fun, huh? Did you guys have a ball down there?
Oh, I had a blast.
Where'd you stay?
Glencoe. Okay.
All right. Did you go there, buddy?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford it at the time. So
I hear you that, man. Were you there during and before, or did you hit the latter end of it, or what, Jake?
I was there for the whole thing.
Okay.
It was great.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was just a fun time. And then, were you at the Full Throttle? It frickin' burnt down, man.
I know. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
I guess they're rebuilding it.
Are they finally going to rebuild it? Because that guy, I forget his name, but he went back and forth on what he was going to do. Is that the official word?
That's the last thing I heard. I don't know if if it was official or not, but I did hear that he was going to rebuild.
That's cool. Gosh, that thing had so much personality. It was a dangerous place, only because you looked around and you could see how over the years they just built that hole from nothing. And now I'm not surprised there was an electrical fire, quite honestly, because that place was just pieced together, but that's what gave it its personality.
It was. I thought most of it was put together from old pallets. You know?
Right. And the steel structures, and what a loss. It's going to be cool if they rebuild it, but it's going to be hard to get that same feel. You know what I mean?
It is. It's going to be almost impossible, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a cross between a bike junkyard and
yes,
an old West movie set or something.
Yeah, with the boardwalk. It was amazing. Anyways, see, you get me talking. I'll just BS all day, but yeah, fun time down there. So back, I think back to my question. Did you guys plan any yearly rides like that you try to get people involved in and head across country or anything?
No, we haven't yet, and that's kind of tough, with everybody having different work schedules and whatnot. I'd love to do it. It's something that's always been in the back of my head, but we haven't really brought it out yet.
All right. Yeah, no, some do. And I know it's hard. And the more members we get, the harder it is to get everybody. We try to get, we open it up to everybody. And then this year we're going to Colorado. So
nice.
Yeah.
You'll stop by on your way through.
We may do that now that I've hooked up with you. I'll get LD here, Law Dog. He is our trip planner extraordinaire. And we've already got some other patrons we're meeting up with going through Colorado. And anyways, if you're listening to the podcast, guys, obviously we'll hook up with you in the private Facebook group and let you know kind of where we're going to go through and maybe stop and have a beer and stuff. But yeah, we're probably coming through there. So I put your information down. No, that's what else do you want to say to somebody that's interested in your club? They're listening right now and they're like, yeah, either I want to, maybe flirt with the fact of starting a chapter in my area, or they're in your area. I mean, what would be their best route to try to get hooked up with you guys?
They can get to us on Facebook. We have a club Facebook page, or our website, IKPSMC.com. Either one of those, you can get to me. Let's see, my personal phone number is actually on our Facebook page, so they can actually call and talk to me personally too. So
that's your public Facebook page?
Yeah, our public one.
Okay, awesome. And so that would be their best route, just reach out to you.
Yeah, just reach out to us. Come hit one of our rides or something like that.
Awesome. Hey, how many years have you been in corrections, Jake?
14.
So without getting deep, what are you looking at for retirement, brother? I mean, how many years?
Well, my wife just retired from APMP, so I probably got another 10 years.
Okay. Right. No, I get it. I totally get it, man. How about you?
I've been in corrections for 2 years now.
Okay. So, wow, you're not even, the light at the end of the tunnel isn't even displaying yet.
No, I got like 25 years or so.
Okay. Pirate's in for the long haul.
Yeah. He is.
Nothing wrong with that, brother. Hey, Pirate, you have anything you want to shout out to the community?
Well, just like Jake was saying, hit us up if you're interested. We're pretty good at responding back. You can always call Jake. You can always just leave messages on the Facebook page or even our website. So we're open to talking to anyone. So.
Great. Now, I got to ask you, crash story. There's those that have been down and those that are going down. Pirate, you been down yet, brother?
Yeah, when I was 18.
Tell us the story. We got to hear the story.
A car pulled out in front of me and stopped in the middle of my lane, and I couldn't swerve to go around them. I either would hit the curb or I would hit oncoming traffic. went across their hood, T-boned him, cut through my leather jacket, had a nice scar on my arm from it. That bike was totaled. So, yeah.
How long was that? Were you out in recovery, man? These are just great stories because it's just never heard that story before. A car pulled out in front of me, right?
Oh, right. Well, luckily, the worst that happened to me, I was wearing a helmet. Worst that happened to me was just cutting through my leather jacket and ripping up my arm, and some road rash, some bruising, but I was able to walk away from that one.
Glad you're okay.
I was only going 35 miles an hour too. So,
did you get any braking in before you hit, or was it no time?
I had maybe about 5 feet of braking. So, yeah, not much time.
Wow. Did you change from that experience? Did you change anything you do and how you ride?
I got rid of that sport bike, and I've always had a passion for Harleys. I remember the first time I heard a Harley, or actually group riding, and I was 5 years old. And ever since then, I've loved bikes, and went from the sport bike, young, dumb age, and grew up from that. And I slowed it down a little bit and started cruising. So
yeah, I hear you. No, when I was young, just out of high school, I had a sports bike, so I get it. And yeah, and there is something about that Harley. Of course, back then that wasn't even a possibility of affording a Harley at that age. You know, I was lucky to have a sports bike. You know, no, that's love hearing those stories just because we can all learn. Sometimes people have little tidbits. I could have did this. I could have did that. So hey, Jake, there's those who have been down and those who are going down. Which one are you, brother?
Been down a few times.
Okay, so good. Not good. But why don't you tell me one of those stories and what you learned, if anything, and your recovery and things like that.
Let's see. Trying to think of the.
There's that many, Jake. That many of them?
No, there's only 3 or 4, but it's and they were all my fault for locking up the front tire.
Wow, just hammering on the brakes too hard.
Yep. One was in Evanston, Wyoming. I was riding back from Jackson, and roads were a little wet. Guy slammed on his brakes in front of me, and I jumped on the brakes a little too hard, and front end just went out from under me. Nothing serious. Didn't get hurt. Bike didn't get hurt, but other than my ego.
Well, right. Yeah, that's always damaged real heavy.
Yeah. So, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't been in a bad one yet.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's good. No major injuries or broken bones or anything.
No, nothing like that.
You know, and nice thing about that's the thing. You know, I used to ride the bikes too, and you know, like my new 2014 Street Glide Special. That's such a nice addition. You know, it's always the 70, 30, 60, 40 braking. Well, with these new bikes, like my Street Glide Special has that reflex integrated system. So that can't happen anymore. You can literally crank on the front as hard as you want, and it knows that it's too much and it starts putting it to the rear for you, and vice versa. Cause that can be a difficult thing when the shit hits the fan, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm looking out my window and I'm definitely heading to minimum lunch and a couple errands on my bike. And it sounds like you guys have some weather that's going to allow you to do the same there, huh?
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah. Are you going anywhere far or just local ride?
Just local.
Awesome.
Still too much snow in the mountains to go up there.
Yeah, I hear you. We're the same way. It's only been about 3 weeks here since the snow's melted enough to get the bike out. And so, man, everybody just has been riding around every chance they get. So
right on.
Anything? Hey, last question. How did you guys, obviously Law Abiding Biker Media, the podcast, the YouTube channel. I'm always genuinely curious, or word of mouth, how you found Law Abiding Biker Media.
Actually, it was from Ben. Ben's the one that brought it to us.
Very cool. How long's he been a member of your club?
He just patched in last
2 months.
2 months ago. Fully patched in.
Awesome.
So he's been with us almost a year now. So.
All right. Very cool.
Great guy. I love him to death.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I've never met him in person, but that's the way it is. A lot of people with me until someday down the road I can meet him in person. But yeah, I really enjoyed having you guys on here. Anything else you want to shout? Oh, make sure you, if you aren't hooked up with the podcast, we have that free app, and this will be out at a later date. It's probably going to be a month before it comes out, but we'll send you an email. But the app's free, Android, iOS, and you can listen right in the app. Any shout out to the law-abiding biker community or final thoughts?
You guys just keep riding, keep safe, and hopefully we see you on the highway sometime.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Pirate. Thanks, Jake, for being involved and stepping up to the plate. You're also going to have, if Ben didn't tell you, the benefit of coming on the show is the only way you get on our private page. It's not a private page. I shouldn't say exclusive page. I should say, let me look it up here. So the benefits of taking your time, and then I'll let you go because I know you want to go ride. I know how that is. You'll get on our special exclusive law-abiding biker motorcycle club list. The only way you do that is by giving an interview. We've had quite a few clubs over the years give interviews. There's a slider. It's lawabidingbiker.com/clubs. And I'm looking at it. There's a slider. I put your club logo on there. I put your club name. It slides across. You can click on any of those. You guys are going to get a permanent page. What that means is I'll make a page for this episode, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode number it is. And I'll also make a link that'll say lawabidingbiker.com/Immortal Knights. From here on out, once this is released, the audio will go there, a player. I need email me a quick description of your club, couple paragraphs of what you're about. With your permission, I'll put that on there. Just give me a logo of yours, 350 by 350 or something is fine. Send me the little, what you want about your club briefly. There'll be links and everything. So basically what that means, Jake, is you can, from now on, when you have interested people or they're like, hey, what's your club about? Tell me about it. Well, that's awesome. Guess what? Head over here, head over to lawabidingbiker.com/Immortal Knights. They can listen to the episode there, or they can listen to it on the app. They can read about you. All the links will be there. So it's kind of a permanent resource for people to send people to learn about their club. If they want to learn more, you can put it on your website, a link to it, whatever you want to do. It'll be yours. Right. And that is the benefits of coming on and sharing your experience and your knowledge, because that's what the platform we've tried to build over the years is we all need to be talking and we all need to be learning from each other, and we shouldn't be silent. And I know some people they get a little bit nervous, or, I'm surprised, I guess we have a lot of clubs on here, but I'm surprised more don't step up quicker because it's such a free resource and a way to get, I do all the work for you. It's a free audio file. It's a free podcast, tell real quick before we go. It's just a Skype conversation. Did you think different, or was this way easier than you thought?
Oh, that's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
it's just bikers BSing with bikers. It's not a structured thing. And so there you go. You heard it right from Jake. You jump on Skype and you BS with me, and that's it. So
that's very cool. And if you want to send me some kind of link or whatever, we'll put your guys on our website as well.
Yeah, very cool. And I appreciate it. I'll send you can link. I'll send you, we have logos and stuff, and I'll send you a couple things and I'll send you an email. But yeah, probably, a little bit before it comes out. But once I get that information from you, I'll start building your custom page, and you'll be on the beautiful slider here going across the screen in front of me.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, get out there and ride.
You too.
All right. Safe. See ya. Bye. Wow, guys. How about that? Freaking awesome interview. And I just had a ball on Skype with those guys. I just really love that. That's been the best part about this journey, this Law-Abiding Biker podcast and media journey I've told you guys in the past, is just the fact that I get to meet and talk with bikers all over the world and connect and network, and just so many amazing bikers out there in the community that I would have never got to reach out to and meet. And, like we say, you can also do it too right in our private Facebook group if you want to become a patron over there, guys. You too can network over there and just reach out. That's what the law-abiding biker community is about, and that's how we differ And that's why we're the motorcycle majority guys, because we want to meet other guys. We want to ride together. We want to network, and we're all have the same mission, of course. All right, guys, don't forget real quick about our banners page. Anytime you want to purchase motorcycle gear, please remember lawabidingbiker.com/banners, BANNERS. If you click through any of our affiliate banners, no additional cost to you. That is right. We get a small kickback should you click through and make a purchase. There's RevZilla over there, and Amazon, and Rocky Mountain, and just a ton of them, guys. There's a list of them. Click through those banners, guys. Helps put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road for you. Of course, Lab Podcast hotline phone number, 509-731-3548. If you want to ask a question, we love voicemail feedback, of course, from anywhere in the world. You can leave a computer voicemail right from the built-in microphone in most computers, of course. lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. It's very, very simple. It's very clean. The audio is great. And as you guys know, we use those depending on what kind of voicemail it is. We use those for content and to play on future episodes. Don't be shy. It's no big deal. We're not going to embarrass you or anything like that. We really, really love your voicemail feedback, guys. All right. Don't forget, if you can't support us in any other way, simply head over to lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes or /Stitcher Radio. Leave us a review. It helps bump us up in the rankings so more bikers around the world can find us and join this thing that we call the biker revolution. All right, guys. God bless. Ride safe.